Hello, my name is Deborah Labadou. In this presentation, I will explain initiatives and referendums in Arizona, including how they are created, their similarities and differences, their advantages and disadvantages, and how they support direct democracy under the Arizona Constitution. To begin, an initiative is a process that allows Arizona citizens to propose a new law or an amendment to the state constitution. Instead of waiting for elected representatives to introduce legislation, citizens can develop a proposal, collect the required number of signatures, and place the measure before voters. A referendum also allows citizens to participate directly in lawmaking, but it serves a different purpose. Rather than proposing a new law, a citizen-initiated referendum allows voters to approve or reject a law or part of a law that has already been passed by the Arizona legislature. In simple terms, an initiative asks, should we create this law? While a referendum asks, should this law be passed by legislature to be allowed to take effect? The Arizona Constitution establishes both powers in Article 4, Part 1, Section 1. It states that although legislative authority is vested in the Arizona legislature, the people reserve the authority to propose laws and constitutional amendments and to approve or reject legislation at the polls. This language is important because it establishes the people as active participants in government rather than individuals whose only political role is electing representatives. The process of creating an initiative begins when an individual or organization develops a proposed statutory law or constitutional amendment. The organizers must file an application and the complete text of the proposal with the Arizona Secretary of State. After receiving authorization and a serial number, supporters may begin circulating petitions, collecting signatures from qualified Arizona voters. The number of signatures required depends on the type of initiative according to the Arizona State Secretary of State. A statutory initiative requires valid signatures equal to 10% of the qualified electors, while an initiative proposing a constitutional amendment requires 15%. These percentages are based on the total number of votes cast for all candidates for governor during the most recent gubernatorial election. The petitions must be filed at least 4 months before the election. Election officials then review the petitions and verify the signatures. If enough valid signatures are confirmed, the proposal is placed on the general election ballot. It must receive a majority of the votes cast to be approved. A citizen referendum begins after the Arizona legislature passes the law. Citizens who oppose the law may file an application with the Secretary of State and circulate petitions asking that the law be submitted to voters. A statewide referendum petition requires signatures equal to 5% of the qualified electors. The Arizona Constitution generally requires the petition to be filed within 90 days after the legislative session in which the law was passed has adjourned. If the petition meets all the legal requirements and contains enough valid signatures, the law is placed before the voters who decide whether to approve or reject it. However, some laws are exempt from the citizen referendum process. These include certain emergencies, measures, and laws needed for the immediate preservation of public peace, health, or safety. This exception allows the state to respond promptly to urgent circumstances without waiting for an election. Initiatives and referendums share several important characteristics. Both are forms of direct democracy, both require formal petitions and verified voter signatures, and both allow qualified voters to make decisions at the ballot box. Each process can also be used at the state and local levels. Most importantly, both reduce the legislature's inclusive control over public policy by reserving legislative power for the people. The primary difference is the direction of the action. An initiative is proactive because citizens introduce a new law or constitutional amendment. A referendum is generally reactive because citizens respond to legislation that elected representatives have already passed. They also have different signature requirements. A statutory initiative requires 10%, a constitutional initiative requires 15%, and a statewide referendum requires 5% of qualified electors. Therefore, although the two processes are related, they address different stages of lawmaking. There are several advantages to initiatives. They allow citizens to address issues that elected officials may avoid or overlook. They may also increase political participation by encouraging voters to research public concerns, organize campaigns, and become directly involved in policymaking. Initiatives can be especially valuable when there is a gap between public opinion and legislative action. However, initiatives also have disadvantages. Drafting an effective law can be complicated, and voters may be asked to decide technical issues through simplified ballot language. Initiative campaigns can also be expensive, which may give wealthy organizations and special interest groups greater influence over advertising and signature collection. Additionally, voters may approve popular programs without fully understanding their long-term financial or administrative effects. Referendums provide an important check on the legislature. They give citizens an opportunity to stop a law they believe is harmful, unpopular, or inconsistent with the public interest. The possibility of the referendum may also encourage lawmakers to consider public opinion more carefully before passing controversial legislation. On the other hand, referendums can delay the implementation of laws and create uncertainty for government agencies and the public. Complex policies may also be reduced to a yes or no decision. Even when the issue requires greater explanation, like initiatives, referendum campaigns may be influenced by misinformation, low voter awareness, or groups with substantial financial resources. Despite the limitations, initiatives and referendums strongly support Arizona's constitutional commitment to direct democracy. Representative democracy gives citizens an indirect voice through elected officials, while direct democracy allows citizens to vote on policies themselves. Arizona combines both systems by maintaining a legislature while reserving certain lawmaking powers for the people. Voter-approved measures also receive important constitutional protection under Arizona's Voter Protection Act. The legislature generally cannot repeal an initiative or referendum approved by voters. It may amend a voter-approved measure only when the change furthers the measure's purpose and receives approval from the three-fourths of each legislative chamber. This protection helps ensure that the decisions made directly by voters are respected. In conclusion, initiatives allow Arizona citizens to propose laws and constitutional amendments, while referendums allow them to review legislation passed by their elected representatives. Although both processes can be costly, complicated, and influenced by powerful interest groups, they offer meaningful opportunities for public participation and government accountability. By reserving these powers to the people, the Arizona Constitution recognizes that citizens should not only choose their representatives, but should have also direct voice in laws that govern them. Thank you for listening.